The release of Super Mario Odyssey introduced the capturing mechanic. This mechanic allows you to control various creatures throughout the game. A lesser known fact about captures is that some of them have secret abilities that activate whenever you use motion controls. These abilities allow them to do things that are beyond their normal moveset. Some of these abilities add on to things that the capture can already do, and some of them give the capture a completely new move. I thought it would be cool to show off all of the unique capture abilities since some of them aren't well known and some of them don't even show up in the capture list. Since we're already going through them all, I figured I may as well rank them while I'm at it. The captures will be ranked strictly by how much the special abilities improve the capture as a whole. Do they make the capture more convenient to use? Do they make collecting moons easier? How useful are they and how do they change the capture as a whole? That's basically what we'll be looking at. Almost half of the captures have no special abilities, or their ability just lets you use motion controls to do one of their already existing moves, which, in my opinion, is totally unnecessary, because nobody is going to choose shaking their controller like a madman over just pressing a button. So yeah, unfortunately, all of the captures in the useless category will be staying there for the rest of the video. Sorry to all the Lake Kingdom puzzle part lovers out there, not that it would have ranked very high anyway. Okay, first up we have the frog. It's a fairly basic capture which gives you a tiny jump, a regular jump, and a special super high jump. There really aren't a ton of places where you can get any value out of the special jump since the regular one is usually more than high enough, but this is still a really solid special ability. I'm going to put this one into A tier for now, but it's likely that it could change later. The Spark Pylon, yes that's its name, does a great job of getting you from point A to point B. At first glance it doesn't even seem to have a special ability, but by shaking in certain areas you can jump out of the wire to grab moons and coins that are nearby. It's a small touch, but in my opinion a valid one since it's used to grab a good amount of moons. We'll go ahead and stick this guy in B tier for now. I have an issue with the Paragoomba's ability. So on paper it's perfectly okay. Making the capture faster is great. However in game, for whatever reason it just feels slow. I can't really explain it. Maybe it's because the Paragoomba is flapping his little wings off like crazy yet he's barely getting anywhere and it reminds me that no matter how hard I try I can barely make a dent in my subscriber count. But I mean when you compare them, shaking is a good amount faster, so maybe it's just me. Nevertheless, I'm going to put the Paragoomba in C tier. I'm going to be grouping the Chain Chomp, Big Chain Chomp, and Madame Brood's Chain Chomp all together since they're pretty much the same capture. The Chain Chomp has a special ability that allows it to do a short dash even though the capture list fails to list any abilities. This is especially useful during the Madame Brood fight, which is why I'm giving the Chain Chomp B tier. Next on our list we have the Bullet Bill, Bonsai Bill, and Knuckle Fist. These all give you the ability to do an extra acceleration. This speed boost is especially useful on these captures since you're on a timer and if you take too long, you'll blow up. Due to this being fairly essential, I'm going to give them A tier. The Goomba definitely has one of the better abilities. It improves its jump significantly, giving it more height as well as more distance. The distance is definitely more helpful since I don't find myself climbing many mountains as a Goomba, but both parts of it have their uses. On top of all of this, the Goomba has a unique trait of being able to walk freely on ice without issues. This is a well-deserved first S tier of the video. Here we have another amazing capture ability. The Cheep Cheeps can do two things. The first one is an attack that allows you to defeat nearby enemies as well as activate certain things and break boxes. The second ability is what makes the Cheep Cheeps so good. By pressing dive and surface at the same time you can get a nice forward boost. It doesn't really sound that fantastic, but it makes the Cheep Cheep feel amazing to use. Anytime I'm in the Cheep Cheep, I'm constantly using the boost. Not just because I want to get somewhere faster, but because it's actually fun and it makes the capture more enjoyable as a whole. Because of these reasons, the Cheep Cheeps will take S tier right above the Goomba. I'll even put the Snow Cheep Cheep higher since it's immune to cold water damage. The Poison and Fire Piranha Plants are one of the few cases where I don't think them having a special ability was really necessary. It lets their attacks go further and faster, but this really doesn't add anything to the capture. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but for that the Piranha Plants get C tier. I've also decided that I'm going to go ahead and move the frog down to the bottom of A tier. The Uproot special ability allows it to extend its legs extra far and they extend faster. Once again, this is fairly simple, but it goes a long way. Nothing revolutionary, but deserving of A tier. The Hammer Bro and Pan Bro were a bit harder to place. Their special ability lets them shoot further and faster, similarly to the Piranha Plant. However, it works much better with these guys and you can do really cool snipes with the Fire Bro. The reason they're hard to place is because even though it's cool, you aren't going to get much actual value out of it, which is why I decided to stick them in B tier. The coin coffer's ability is epic. You spread coins in a circle around you that kill any enemies within range. It does take away 10 coins when you use it, however that's not a super big deal. The thing holding this back from being good is that you're never in a situation where you're running away as a coin coffer and you're surrounded by enemies. For being not quite mediocre, the coin coffer is going to get C tier. Also, this is random, but why does the stock photo look so much bigger than all of the other ones? He even makes the T-Rex look puny. The Tropical Wiggler's next, and his ability lets him extend faster than normal. From what I could tell, this doesn't affect the length at all, just the speed. You may be noticing a trend with these because this isn't really super useful, but it is fun to wiggle your way around the map. The Tropical Wiggler gets a B tier. Next up we have the one and only pole, and also the fork since it's pretty much the exact same capture with the reskin. All this gives you is a further flick, but I do use it pretty much any time I'm using the pole since some extra distance is always nice. I'm going to put the pole and the fork in A tier and then move the frog down to B tier. It just keeps going farther down. The Taifu really doesn't do much. All his ability does is help you to blow things farther, but it's close to useless since there's only like 2 spots in the game where you can even use it. And it barely gives you any distance, so a very well deserved C tier. The Gushan's special ability is very similar to the coin coffers. The only real difference is that the Gushan shoots water and the coin coffer shoots your coins, but simply because I don't have to pay coins to use the Gushan's ability, I'll put it right above the coin coffer. Wait, I just realized that's literally pay to win. The lava bubble is almost on the same level as the Cheep Cheep, where I just can't see the capture without its ability. This is a really good dash. The only downside is that it's shorter than a normal jump, so sometimes you can't use it to get to higher areas. This is still an S tier ability. Without it, you'd just be hopping around like this, which would make the lava bubble a pain to use. This is where it starts getting good. 3 of these last 4 captures have multiple unique special abilities. First off, the pokeo has a whopping 4. He can poke into the wall, and then if you shake, he'll get an extra far and fast launch, much like the pole. If you shake while in the air, he'll do a mid-air twirl that will let you stall and gain a bit of extra height. He has a freaking spinning slash attack if you hold out your beak and shake. And lastly, I'm not sure if this counts, but I wanted to mention it. He can instantly kill the ogres if you stab into the hole in the middle of their forehead. Definitely an S tier, no questions asked. The Dry Bones' special ability is very similar to the Goombas, however this one actually makes it feel faster. It's also more useful since the Dry Bones is placed in more dangerous situations where you won't want to stick around for too long. I'm going to put the Dry Bones in B tier, and it pains me to do this, but I think I have to switch the Paragoomba and the Fire and Pan Bros around. When it comes down to usefulness, the Paragoomba just beats them. We've made it to the big man himself. Bowser can do a number of things. The first one is a charged fireball attack that will activate when you hold down the attack button and then release it. It doesn't behave any differently than a regular fireball, which you can just shoot by shaking the controller, but it still looks really cool. The last thing is that Bowser is actually the only capture that can do a triple jump. This will give you a little bit of extra height, and it also makes a cool noise. Yet another S tier. Who would have guessed? The final capture of the video. A glimpse of freedom. Yoshi is one of the coolest captures in the game, but at first glance he doesn't even seem to have an ability. Thankfully this isn't the case. By holding out your tongue and then shaking the controller, it will latch onto the ground, giving you a burst of speed. Sometimes whenever I have nothing better to do, I just run around Mushroom Kingdom as Yoshi, chaining together these speed bursts. You can also build up even more speed by keeping the Y button held down after using your tongue. Whenever you let go, you get absolutely launched. Yoshi's getting put in S tier right after Bowser since the fireballs he shoots are actually used in the speedrun to knock the pillars down earlier. It was really close though. So yeah, this is all of the captures ranked by how good their special abilities are. I never thought I'd see a tier list where the Snow Cheep Cheep gets first place, but here we are. I'm going to be real with you, I've written 3 pages worth of script for this video, done 726 voice recording takes, and spent countless hours in game getting footage and on my computer cutting footage. I'm not expecting this video to do super well because the idea itself is mediocre at best, All I'm asking you is that you let me know your thoughts, because I'm fairly new to making videos. I'm not even going to ask you to sub or anything, because if you've watched this far, then I already know you're a real one. That's all I've got. I'll see you in the next one.